Basically have written here that I had to put on Facebook because of all the talk and all the negative stuff that's going on there by the opposing people, by the people that are trying to stay in power and don't know how to let go of power. But anyways, the statement. Oh, thank you. Okay, political campaigns are full of noise. Every once in a while, that noise gets a little out of control, and unfortunately, we come to expect that kind of noise from Hemet. Last week, a few people who want to maintain the status quo at City Hall made a desperate attempt to claim my candidate filings were not done correctly. I want to assure everyone in the 4th District that my campaign filings were done correctly and in accordance with every law and every regulation. It may eventually take a court ruling to prove them wrong. The noise is coming from a few who are wrongly trying to hang on to their power in City Hall. They know their days in control are numbered, and they know that I'm going to win on election day. Perhaps that desperation is what has driven them fabricating false and malicious claims against my candidacy. I urge you to vote for me, Joe Males, to make sure transparency is restored at Hemet City Hall. I'll work for you, not the people wrongly trying to hang on their influence over the city officials. And I want to thank you to the scores of District 4 voters who have already conveyed their support for my campaign. My wife and I deeply appreciate your strong support, and we will make sure that the misguided efforts of a few city officials do not prevent me from serving as your next representative on the Hemet City Council. Thank you. Now, a lot of people have asked me why I'm running, and I get pretty shook up when I tell them why. I lost a son here in Hemet in 2016, a Marine that served our country for 4 years. His case went cold, and I swore that I would not let his case go cold, and I said that I'll fight and do whatever I can to bring justice to Hemet, to my son, to my family, and we're going to beat this. And I'm asking you all to vote for me, and so we can straighten up this city and stop all the negative stuff that's going on and just clean it up. And that's what I want to do. I'm not a politician. I'm just an average family man that's been married for 35 years with my wife. I have 5 kids, 1 who's gone now, and 11 grandchildren. And I just want this city to be safe for my grandchildren, for my family, and for anyone else that has kids that they don't have to go through what I did. And I thank you. If there's any...
Sorry for your loss.
Hoorah! Marine Corps! And I'm a Marine Corps veteran. So thank you all, and I appreciate you all coming down here and listening to us. Thank you.
Good job. All right, let's hear one more time for Joe Males for District 4. Remember, anybody lives in District 4, when you get that ballot, put the check box in the Males. Males for District 4, thank you. Get that name right.
That's Joe Males. And then comes Michael Purcell, who I'm interested to interview because I've only met Michael twice. I've never been to But Joe, it's an honor to meet you. You're a born fighter. That's a good thing, because that's what we need in this uphill battle to bring Hemet back to social and fiscal sanity. And right at the beginning, I mean, you just started. You know, most people, you get into a race, and you know, you're talking to your opponent and you're battling ideas, but this has gotten even worse. They're trying to actually kind of bounce you out of the race itself. So give us a little bit of how they came about, what's going on, and where we're standing right now.
Well, initially, you know, they had the cutoff date to fill the paperwork out and get that submitted. I think it was either 6 or 7. I was told by the city clerk that you have an extra 5 days because Bonnie Wright, the incumbent, was termed out and she couldn't run again. So they told me I had till the 12th.
Yeah.
So I was gonna turn my paperwork in on the 6th or 7th. And I called and I said, I think I'll wait to make sure all my paperwork's correct since I have that extra 5 days. And so I turned my paperwork in on the 10th. And 2 days prior to the
date you were given.
Right, and it was on the website. The date was it's on the website. I took a snapshot of it, and August 12th is your deadline. So after they've seen all the response being running,
coming out for jail, we're in trouble.
And I had my drive-by parade with the American Legion riders and the Patriots, and with other riders and cars, and it was pretty good. A good turnout. And so all of a sudden I get two emails stating that they were fighting it in court and said that I have no right to be on the ballot.
Right, and it particularly disturbed me because you're a friend of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds through people like Jerry Chase and others, if not thousands of veterans who were veterans themselves. And I just thought it was such an ugly, sneaky kind of thing. I just have a question. You are firmly convinced it's not going to be a problem, and you said if you have to, you'll take it to court. Where does it stand right now?
Well, we were supposed to be in court yesterday, and they postponed it.
Okay.
And the law
now
office,
they being who postponed it? The other side.
The other side, and it's the law office of Priscilla Madrid, and my
that's an
opponent is Michael Madrid.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Now, do we know if there's any tie-in? Is it a relative? I mean, it would be an odd coincidence if it wasn't. I mean,
now the law firm specializes in something other than politics. They specialize in, I believe it's realty or something, real estate.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's
all of a sudden they
all of a
jumped
sudden,
into
right.
they got into election law.
Right.
So, overnight. Yeah,
Definitely.
interesting.
And then all these posts are coming up on Facebook with people asking questions. Well, you don't live in Seven Hills, and yes, I do. Or the address you live in was vacant at this date. No, it wasn't.
And no, it wasn't right.
Yeah.
So you're getting all these kind of odd things popping up.
Right, and that's to discourage people
No, exactly.
from voting for me, which is ridiculous.
No, exactly. And you heard me ask, and I'm going to ask Michael personally as well, but you heard me ask Sue Savage some of the same questions because we obviously have had an ongoing problem that the minority, let's say, on the council, that there's only one or two people that have always kind of fought this. So once you're elected, and what is your district again?
District 4.
So I always like to mention, so you're in District 4. And once you're elected in District 4, what are you going to do to stop the seeming, I don't want to jump in and sort of comment as far as incompetence or corruption, whatever, but the seeming ongoing problems that have seemed to hamstring us from going forward?
Well, I'm hoping that Mike, Carly, and myself win our election.
Exactly.
And we can become the majority, so we can make the decisions and put away all this negative stuff within our city. There's just too much going on.
No, and it's a beautiful time, I think, in the city of Hendrick, because once that happens, we get to have the fun then of watching the massive comeback with a sort of unified body that's really looking to change things. What do you think that you bring as a veteran, as a fighter, as someone who's owned? How long have you owned your own business? You've had business.
I had a business for over 22 years.
2 years here and now.
No, well, I ran it from him at also,
Right, okay.
but I'm originally from Whittier,
Okay.
and I had my clients since I was on the borderline of Orange County and in LA County. I had clients in Century City, LA, Orange County, Tustin area, all throughout, even San Diego. I had clients in San Diego and Riverside.
Yeah.
And I ran it for 22 years. I was told when I first started my company, oh, you're never going to make it. But I'm a positive thinker, and I don't let people tell me I can't do something when I know I can. So I started the business, and it was just me by myself, and I was the CEO, finance officer, marketing director, everything it takes to run a business. That was me. So I learned a lot. And I learned that when you're out there making your money and you're not working for someone else and you get that check on a weekly basis or bi-weekly or bi-monthly basis, that you have to really pinch every penny you make.
Sure.
And so I learned how to be conservative with my money and actually make money and put it away. So I mean, 22 years of running a business, and I bought multiple houses, and I was able to purchase my home in two in heaven, or Whittier, and then two out here in heaven.
And to be clear, you do live in Seven Hills.
I live in Seven Hills.
You are in your district.
I am in my district.
So
I have
none
paperwork
of
that
that stuff
can
can
prove
prove,
it.
right,
So
exactly.
everything they're saying is erroneous.
Yeah,
It's not
right. Just to kind of blow up smoke. I would also. I thought it was very poignant, and I know it's a bit personal, but I would ask you again just to give us the sort of thumbnail and the story of what made you run and what happened here in the tragic
Well,
circumstances.
my son in 2016, he had taken over my business. I
Also a Marine.
Yes, also a Marine. 4 years in the Marine Corps, went overseas, did his thing. I was in the Marine Corps in '73. I made it to the Philippines to train to go to Vietnam, but by the time our training was over, we had the peace accord, and so I ended up in Guam guarding the refugees as they came in. So I didn't make it to Vietnam, but my son did make it
Right.
to the Persian Gulf, and you know, he came home safe. He went to college, got his 2 degrees, his associate's degree and his bachelor's degree, took over my business
Oh,
because I went to a liver transplant. Because in the Philippines, when I was in the Philippines, I ended up with hepatitis and was in quarantine for 3 months. So they told me it would go dormant, and it would come back, and it came back. And so I had to have a liver transplant. I almost lost my business, but my son at the time got out of the Marine Corps, went to college, got his degree, and took over the business, and it was booming. Comes here on Father's Day of 2016 and gets killed, murdered. And it was devastating. I just wish I would have died during my transplant.
Right.
Nothing a parent wants
I
to go
unfortunately
through.
know that
And that
feeling.
was my youngest son, my baby, and we were close.
Right.
So it really devastated us.
And you said that loss and the memory of that loss is what propelled you to say, I'm going to change.
Yes, and to see the city, the way it's being run, it's with the homeless, break-ins. I'm the commander at the American Legion
Yes.
over here at Post 53. I joined the American Legion in 2 months. I was the first vice commander. They made me first vice commander. Our Legion was going down. Our Legion had no money. They were every meeting we had. They said we're going to be closing the doors because we don't have any money. So we got rid of that group of officers and took over. I became the commander. I have a good finance officer, Luis Morales. We have good officers. Larry Blair, which is our first vice commander that loves the Legion. We took it over and we restructured everything. I ran it like a business.
Right.
We had no money in the bank. We were borrowing money to pay our bills. Now we have over $22,000 in the bank.
Wonderful.
Never, in the last 10 years, we never had $22,000 in
And
the
how
bank.
many dinners have you given to raise funds, and how many people have you helped through that?
Oh, we've helped a lot. We've helped a lot of people. We have our veterans that are in wheelchairs. One was on the streets with his family as a child and a
Yes.
wife. We got him into an apartment. We worked on that. Plus, we
I remember too. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I remember too. It was a beautiful story. My girl Sandy D. Sandy, if you're out there, it's you in
Yeah.
a million years. But I remember the gentleman that you. It was the gentleman who was I believe he had some hearing issues, and they did a benefit at Applebee's, and it was him and his 3 kids and his
Yeah,
wife, and
we
you guys
have a
turned
lot.
the yell.
We have
and so you were able to turn that whole situation around to
Yes.
start helping people. like
Yes,
that.
we have. And plus another family, a Marine family, they were on the streets, they had nowhere to go. But see, we partner with Cloverland Foundation. They help a lot.
Yes.
with Empire Mobility.
That's Mike.
Mike Wolford,
Yeah.
Jerry Chase. So we partnered together to work together to help these servicemen and women. And we've done a lot.
So you've not only built businesses, you've overcome tragedy, and you've also helped rebuild a nonprofit.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
So I think it's a situation wherein the professional politicians aren't serving the citizens. It's time that the citizens step up and we need people.
It's time to go in and clean house and get this city back to where it belongs.
Exactly. And again, Joe, you are in District 4.
District 4. Yes.
Joe Mails.
Joe Mills.
Bless you.
And my website's www.mailsccd4 for City Council 4.com.
And don't listen to Eddie, it's N-A-L-E-S.
Mails.
Bless you, kid.
All right, keep Joe on the stand real quick. I got some more questions
Oh,
for
yes,
you, Joe.
Okay.
Number one is more of a comment, and I wanted to throw this comment out here, and I want to thank, let's see, who made this comment. It says replying to Ann Smith. Ann Smith, okay. In other comments, wait, this is the second question. In other comments, it's interesting that people are second guessing where Joe lives. Wonder if it's coming from his opponent, Mike Madrid, who happens to be a volunteer for him at the police department. Makes you wonder. When I questioned Mr. Madrid on the phone conversation, he tried to deflect, but finally admitted that Priscilla Madrid has some connection to him. He didn't say that she was a family member, but do a background on him on Google, folks. She is a relative. It's internet, folks. You got anything you want to say on that?
Well, it's sad to have somebody do this as an opponent and I would never do something like this. I love everybody. I work with everybody, and I can't see somebody doing this.
Well, your work with the veterans has been an example.
I'm sorry.
I said your work with the veterans has been an example.
Yeah.
It's been, I mean, you've done so many wonderful. And we were writing about them regularly in the newspapers. So it's wonderful stuff. And I think it has to stop. If there's a difference of ideas and one group of ideas wins, that's different. But this kind of ugly backbiting stuff is just
It's shameful. It is.
No.
Any other?
Yes. This one, Ann Smith.
So I think when we say welcome to the Ann Smith Show.
Yes. Ann Smith is
Mark
on.
Lentine does the Ann Smith Show.
I got to shake Ann Smith's hand on this one. I actually removed this
What's
person
she
from
talking
Him
about when you
News.
did it? What's she talking about?
Just a comment. This is not a question, but I agree with you, Ann. Bonnie Wright needs to butt the hell out. She messed up, not Joe Miles. So tell me, how can Joe be wrong when the city blew it? Seriously, she made a legal declaration admitting that she screwed up. Joe would not have done that.
Wow.
And we got silence.
We got silence on that one.
Okay.
So,
Well, I love Bonnie.
and I've noticed that Bonnie Wright, and I don't know if she's
I have to
watching,
say,
and I don't care if she
I
is
do as well,
watching.
so that's tough. But
Bonnie Wright kept going in, reporting your post on Hemet News, and got one of them removed through Facebook saying there's an election. I don't know
that's
what.
a shame because Bonnie.
But anyways, I don't know why she has any say so. She's not even in here in Hemet no more. She's
Well, I
in
love Bonnie.
Yes.
Next question from Muriel Warner.
Wait,
What are the batteries
not
for-
from Ann Smith again. It's Ann Smith, just with a fake name. She put a mustache on and she gave what's her name?
What are the boundaries for District 4? I think I'm in it, but I'm not sure.
Oh, the boundaries south of Stetson between Warren and State.
South of Stetson,
Okay.
between Warren and State.
All right. And if we have anybody else that's watching the live stream that has any questions, I'm going to give you a few seconds for your question to come in. Go ahead and ask it now if you have any questions for Joe.
Joe doesn't
If not,
dodge.
we're going to
answer
continue
anything.
on to the next
I will.
one.
Any questions? We good?
Got to give it a little few seconds
few seconds.
because we do have a delay. That's why Mayor Cutty got cut out on his question.
I can't please you.
It's a shame. It really is.
Let's try taking orders.
Okay, I don't see any more questions.
Hoorah.
That's right. All right, go get some hands for Joe.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Again, many early release prisoners were brought here to Hemet. What will you personally do to decrease our homelessness issue and the crime issue that was further exacerbated by this early release decision?
Okay. First of all, I'd like to say I had a lot of friends growing up that ended up in prison. They got out. When they're let out, they're let out to the same city where their family lives, or if they move, they go to that location where the family moved. So if we have a lot of people coming out to Hemet from the outer cities, then that's probably why they're coming out here. In my time of, being around my friends like this, I was in the computer business. I would work with them and talk to them, saying, if I can do it, you can do it. You can work on computers. I'd teach them. I'd work with them. I had friends that were in and out of prison that became computer technicians, and they loved it. They changed. Their whole life changed because they had something that they believed in that they could do. They had somebody working with them. So we need to get these homes that are available out here in Hemet, Habitat for Humanity, Valley Restart, Salvation Army, give them a place to stay instead of being out in the streets. Right now, we're told that Salvation Army can't house any of these homeless people because they're not in the city, or the zoning or something's wrong. And the same thing with Valley Restart. They can't add any more beds because they're in the wrong zoning area. So first thing I would do is look at all the laws we have, look at the zoning, where these groups are located, and try to rezone it or give them the ability to put more beds in, so we have the homeless people that can stay in these facilities. And then I try to get some programs working for them. We have an empty lot right around the American Legion. I'm the commander of the American Legion. We've helped a lot of homeless people, and we put them in homes. We work with companies like Empire Mobility. We work with Clover Lane that helps us finance these people, get them into a home or an apartment, and we've helped a lot. And I think we can do the same thing with the average citizen. They don't have to be a veteran. We should be able to help them. So.
Got it. Excellent. Thank you. Okay, so the same question number 3 is going to go to Mr. Joe Males. Joe, I will ask you the question again. See if I can keep my teeth in to pronounce everything correctly. Hemet has a hard time attracting lucrative and big-name businesses to invest here, and an even harder time inspiring them to stay. For the many small businesses also give up before they can get through the rigorous challenges of the city of Hemet imposes on them in trying to open their businesses here. What will you do to streamline this process and make it easier and more attractive to businesses both large and small?
Well, first of all, in order to bring business in, we have to have a city that people want to come to. And with the homeless and the drugs going on and the break-ins of buildings, of businesses, we can't do that. So we got to clean up our streets first. We got to get the homeless taken care of, the drugs off the street. The ones that break into buildings, we got to figure out what we're going to do with them. Once we do that, again, me being the commander of the American Legion, I used to go out to the surrounding cities, Paris and all this, and look for signs that said, jobs available, and I put them online for my veterans. I'm not afraid to go out and talk to companies. I would try my best to bring companies in. I would work with the other council members to see if we can give them tax breaks, give them some type of incentive to bring them here. They want to, they have to have something to bring them. They can go to any city and build a manufacturing company or any type of tech company, but to bring them here, we would have to give them the incentive to do that. So I would work with companies. I would call them up. I would try to get our council together to see what we can do to give tax breaks to businesses. And then I would actually try to go to the high schools, people in graduating, letting them know that we're going to bring business in. They need to try to get some type of more of an education in a city college or something, or in a tech college. But I'd just do what I can just to bring more business.
Excellent. Thank you. And Joe?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting me, Eddie George. I appreciate it. My name is Joe Males. I'm running for City Council, District 4. I'm a Marine veteran, owned a business for over 22 years, a networking business. The reason I'm running is my son, Nicholas Males, who was a Marine, was murdered in Hemet in 2016. His case went cold, so I thought I would get on board on City Council and try to get something done about it. And that's the reason my motto is safety, prosperity, and charity. I want to make the streets of Hemet safe. I don't want any other family to go through what I went. It's very important to me to see these streets safe and where people can get around and not have to worry about somebody coming up to them and asking for money or doing something bad. But again, vote for me, City Council, District 4. Thank you.
Thank you. And next up is Mr. Shinde V. You may have seen the V for mayor signs around. Rephrase
Okay.
repose the question to you again. Many early release prisoners were brought here to Hemet. What will you personally do to decrease our homelessness issue and the crime issue that was further exacerbated by this early release decision?
Okay. First of all, I'd like to say I had a lot of friends growing up that ended up in prison. They got out. When they're let out, they're let out to the same city where their family lives, or if they move, they go to that location where the family moved. So if we have a lot of people coming out to Hemet from the outer cities, then that's probably why they're coming out here. In my time of, being around my friends like this, I was in the computer business. I would work with them and talk to them, saying, if I can do it, you can do it. You can work on computers. I'd teach them. I'd work with them. I had friends that were in and out of prison that became computer technicians, and they loved it. They changed. Their whole life changed because they had something that they believed in that they could do. They had somebody working with them. So we need to get these homes that are available out here in Hemet, Habitat for Humanity, Valley Restart, Salvation Army, give them a place to stay instead of being out in the streets. Right now, we're told that Salvation Army can't house any of these homeless people because they're not in the city or the zoning or something's wrong. And the same thing with Valley Restart. They can't add any more beds because they're in the wrong zoning area. So first thing I would do is look at all the laws we have, look at the zoning, where these groups are located, and try to rezone it or give them the ability to put more beds in so we have the homeless people that can stay in these facilities. And then I try to get some programs working for them. We have an empty lot right around the American Legion. I'm the commander of the American Legion. We've helped a lot of homeless people, and we put them in homes. We work with companies like Empire Mobility. We work with Clover Lane that helps us finance these people, get them into a home or an apartment, and we've helped a lot. And I think we can do the same thing with the average citizen. They don't have to be a veteran. We should be able to help them. So,
Got it. Excellent. Thank you. And again, to all of you, thank you for that round of questioning. And